sit down for me? And what's her name? Lori had her side by side. She said she's sexy and smarter than all of you all right? Go ahead and please put your hands back together for me. Cross the thumb the opposite way. Does that feel awkward? Absolutely. What about crossing your arms for me, crossing the opposite way? Yeah, it's like doing the Macarena, right? It's not easy to do. The reason why I show you this exercise this morning is because we are creatures of habit. We have good habits and we have bad habits. I've asked that question over 1,000 times in my career, and the number one answer that I've received is positive attitude. And it's not by any accident. We don't get taught about positive attitude. It's something that we hear along the way. Many speakers say attitude is everything. They're dead wrong. Attitude is the most important thing. It affects our relationships, our health, the way we deal with money, the way we deal with our family, friends, our relationships, everything. Our attitude is towards that. Stanford did a study. 87.5% is our success is derived from attitude. 12.5% is from the people you know. Down here in Louisiana, we call it, it's who's your mama know? And that's how we say, who do you know? But also, too, it's our education as well. So 87.5 is derived from positive attitude. But why don't other speakers want to talk about it? It's the number one key to our success, the number one habit. It's a habit that we don't think about. It's a habit that we just kind of let go out the door. Now, I know this about positive attitude. I know this quite well. See, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at a guy that's been fired, dumped, foreclosed on. You name it, it's happened to me. I've had Murphy's Law. I might as well just have it stamped in my office. But I also got shot with a 12-gauge shotgun when I was in high school. Yes, it did hurt, okay? I get asked that all the time. I got shot right here and right here. Two right in the shoulder. One still in me, one went through me. Now, I tell you that story. I haven't talked about that story in over 20 years, but I had to put it in my book, Get Off Your Attitude, because I wanted to share that story on how we can deal with adversity, how we respond. Charles Swindoll says it best, life is 10%, what happens 90% on how we respond to it. And I never forget, and I'm going to tell you this, for over 20 years I asked God, why did I get shot? What was the reason for me getting shot? And he said, this is the only thing that he comes to me that he said. He said he wanted me to be like Lil Wayne or 50 Cent, all right? He wanted me to have a little street credit as a motivational speaker. It's the only thing I can come up with. But he also taught me another thing. When I was about 7 or 8 years ago, and that's going on 8 years ago, I had a multi-million-dollar insurance business. I built it from ground floor with a friend of mine in Dallas, Texas. And I just moved back here to Louisiana, and within 6 months, we lost our business. We had all of our eggs in one basket. We had all the mortgage offices and all the mortgage companies using our insurance company. And we were so focused on that, when that crashed, it took our business with it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that was one of the lowest points in my life, but it was one of the best points in my life. See, I was negative, pessimistic, aggravated. See, what happened was I just moved back to Louisiana. I didn't know anybody. I had to get a new job. I had to get a job that I didn't like. I had to be moved to another part of Louisiana I didn't want to move to. I didn't know anybody, because it was the only job that I could find. And it was important in my life that really showed me on how to respond to life and how important that attitude is. I had to borrow $100 from my brother-in-law just to move from one city to the next. That's how broke I was. But have you ever woken up about 4 o'clock in the morning, full of sweat, full of anxiety, full of stress as a business owner, saying, how am I going to pay this? What am I going to do? How did I get here this morning? Yeah. Well, this one particular one, I never forget, I had to rent a room from a friend of mine. Actually, I had to rent a couch from a friend of mine I went to college with. So I'm living with my buddy, waiting to make some money. I just get this job, and then what I did is I turned around, and I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and these 4 words came to me: get off your attitude. This is in 2009. So I thought I've heard it. I've spoken with some of the biggest speakers in the world. I've trained for over 10 years. I've read just about every single book. I've been on hundreds of seminars. I've got CD sets, tape sets, you name it. So I'm like, oh, I've heard that before. Somebody said that. So I go look for it. Get off your attitude. I'm looking it up. Can't find it. It's not even on Google. Nowhere to be found. This is 2009. So I go to GoDaddy.com. Find it on GoDaddy.com. GetOffYourAttitude.com. I bought .net, .tv, .us, you name it. I bought every single one of them. But if you know anything about websites, that's hard to find a website, especially back then. But I knew that was my new mantra. And that's what I do, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what I'm going to talk about in a deep dive. How do we get off our attitude? When we do have adversity in our face, when we are business owners and we're trying to make ends meet, or we're trying to go from surviving to thriving, when we're trying to be successful, when you have an idea, I had the idea for over a year, I had the idea of writing the book, Get Off Your Attitude. And I'm thinking to myself, who am I to write the book? Who am I to tell people to get off their attitude? Whatever. So for 1 year, I told myself to get off my attitude. Every time I thought negative, acted negative, talked negative, got around negative people, whatever it was, I had to get off my attitude. And then I wanted to share it with others, because every time as a business owner, we start to think negative. The gentleman talked about that earlier. We get stressful, we get anxiety, we get fear. Does anybody know what the acronym of fear is? I haven't heard that one. I hear false evidence appearing real. Or my favorite acronym is forget everything and run. All right? That's my favorite acronym of fear. But that's what happens to us, ladies and gentlemen. We get fearful. So I want to share with you today on how to get off our attitude. How do we take our business to the next level as entrepreneurs? How do we get in positive relationships? How do we soar with the eagles? How do we go after our goals? Not just go after, but how do we reach them? And I'll share you stories of others, myself, and people that have thrived and used my message, Get Off Your Attitude. So with that being said, I thank y'all for having me this morning. My time is up. I appreciate it.